Thank you. It's just a short note. On the library in particular, but on the other proposals, you will totally understand people's long accrued cynicism that consultation is just fabrication and it's an exercise you have to go through. I'm speaking for lots of people, not just myself. To be pragmatic, can you give tonight and on other nights an absolute assurance that the consultation is a dialogue, and not just that assurance, but how will you, just before the decision is made, assuming it's not a foregone decision, how will you evidence that to all of us?
Right. It's a dialogue about everything that's left after the call off, and we made that plain from the very beginning. We can't nibble into the call off because that is the legal minimum. It is a dialogue. There's more to do, and Nick's going to be holding a lot more sessions about the library, etc. The decision that's made will be made publicly, and cabinet members will explain whatever decision has been made to the public. Bearing in mind what's been said about dialogue, I'm not first only run one of these on a more dialogue basis and a discussion basis. But as I keep saying, if we have this meeting without all that information, the first thing I would have been accused of all over Facebook, Dixon hides facts. So you've got the facts. There's another two presentations now. I'm conscious that it's about, I think it's about 8:30. Do you want the last two presentations, or do you? Yeah. Okay, Chris.
Right, perfect. I wasn't ready then, though. I'm Chris McEwen. I leave on Cranby. Next slide, please, Steve. Thank you. Slide before you sets out what's within my area of responsibility. Can everyone hear me? Right. First, I've got responsibility for the planning brief. So basically that's planning applications, but also what's called the local plan, which is a statutory thing that we have to do, which sets out how we're going to use land in the future, be it greenbelt, brownfield, where we build houses, where we create employment zones, and we're currently doing that, but that's a statutory function. It's maps of two, so really we're going to seek to do the same job with less resource. Second, it mentions a combined authority, which you've probably heard about in the news, linked to that Tees Valley Unlimited, and that's with ourselves and the 4 local authorities on Teesside working together. There's a number of shared services there, principally around inward investment. So rather than the 5 of us operate separately, try and bring big inward investment in the Tees Valley, we contribute towards Tees Valley, but we also do stuff on behalf of the 5 local authorities around skills, for example, because we've got to think about Darlington, yes, but we are operating in Tees Valley, so a number of people within Darlington will work in Stockton or wherever, and vice versa. Also, within my portfolio, there's environmental health and training standards and building control. Got to do that by law, but what we're seeking to do, as we are with private sector housing regulation, we're seeking to do that more cost effectively, do the same but for less resource. The next bullet point, again, is a statutory function, and that's around civil contingencies, emergency planning, disaster planning. So under law, we've got certain obligations, be it flooding or natural disasters. So we're looking to provide the same level of assurance and cover, but again, with less resource. How are we going to do that? Well, we're starting to do stuff like working with Stockton around a shared approach, around flood management. And then there'll be other examples where we're going to have to work through to, again, ensure that we meet our obligations, provide that cover, but basically with less money. Same for licensing, and that ranges from pubs, to taxis. We've got it under law. We've got to provide a licensing function, but we've got to work out ways to do that. And we have taken cost out, but we're going to have to take more cost out over the coming months and years. CCTV, I'm saying that's actually standing still, and the reason for that is it brings in income. Station pays, some private companies pays, and that helps subsidise the camera coverage in the town centre and out and about. We're also looking to change the way we do it, the technology, so that will lower the cost quite considerably. The final two are actually not statutory. They're non-statutory services, which seems a bit strange. The first is around economic regeneration. We don't have to, by law, do economic regeneration. And I mentioned before my passion, and I think somebody said I was quite proud of delivering 500 jobs and a new development and increased footfall. Or I'm quite proud about the CPI development. And my name's Chris McHugh. Email me if you want to know more about the generation-changing development of the CPI into the station. Somebody said we were quite smug about that. I am quite smug. I'm quite happy that we're trying to, against difficult circumstances, bring jobs in, and our future will be around bringing businesses in who will pay businesses rates that will help deal with some of the funding gaps, and it will also create employment opportunities for the people of Darlington. And I'm not ashamed to have that as a mission. The final one is quite controversial. I'm also in charge of the Christmas offer, and we've got to look at ways of doing that more cheaply. We pay about 40,000 for doing the Christmas lights. We've got to look at ways of doing that more cheaply, so we're in discussion with Distinct Darlington, the bid to see whether they can contribute, maybe Rotary can help defray some of the costs. In one sense, and I'm not being facetious, we need Christmas lights because it adds to the atmosphere. We want people to shop local at Christmas to support local traders. Next slide, please. And that outlines where some of the cost savings are going to come from in terms of the statutory services trying to do the same for less resource and also the Christmas offer. I can take any questions.
Just a quick one, because I read about it in the Echo, so I don't know the full details about it. I understand, I'm not 100% of it, but I think it's a court case currently going on, because there was a £25 million investment that a guy from Dubai wanted to develop Blackwell Meadows, the rugby club, and he was going to build a big sports complex and leisure centre, and for some reason, from what I read in the Echo, like I say, I don't know much about it, but from what I read in the Echo, it said that you guys completely just rejected it, completely wouldn't work together, and I think he spent, to get the proposal through, he spent over 100 grand, and the guys are currently taking it to court, I believe. But I just wonder if, and the cinema, to be honest with you, that should have happened 10, 15 years ago. But I would like a bit of information about this Blackwell Meadows, why you didn't work together with the guy on that.
Right, well, first, Blackwell Meadows, we did not, and it was quite a while ago, so it must have been an old copy of the Echo, I think, 3, 4 months ago, or thereabouts, but the point of that is we did not think it was a viable development. And it goes back to option, or the first bullet point, we've got a statutory duty to make sure we get good development, and from recollection, we're seeking to bring quite a lot of research.
This guy, from what I read, seemed like a very credible business, like he had really good investments out of Dubai, seemed as if he knew what he was doing. And he just basically said that you just completely wouldn't work together. I just
in an Echo house?
It was in the article, but it just seems strange, like why completely reject it out of hand?
But can I assure you, we did not reject it out of hand.
I mean, you're saying you didn't think it was viable, but
Yeah.
this chap obviously seemed to
Yeah.
spend over
And-
100 grand on it. He must have thought it was viable.
I don't know how much he spent, that's what the Echo says. I mean, from our perspective, we're pragmatic. We've got a history of encouraging the right development. We wouldn't reject anything out of hand. I can't comment whether he spent £1 or 100,000, right, to be honest, and I don't know anything about the court case, so, yeah. I'm bemused, but I can have a chat. But the second question was, sorry, you had a second question? Oh yeah. We should have had this cinema 10, 15 years ago. I violently agree with you, right? But sadly, the local authority isn't in the business of building cinemas. We're waiting for the cinema market. And it's like anything, it's a bit like the story of why Debenhams will have an approach. It's whether or not they will come to Darlington. The cinema operators kept looking at Darlington, and they have demographics and models, and we hit something happened where they about 2-3 years ago they went right, Darlington, it's time to come to Darlington. And we have tried and encouraged them for about 10 years.
Like I said, I know quite a lot of business people in the town, and I talk to them. They're always really negative on the council. It's just parking, for example. I mean, someone made a point. You can go to Northallerton and shop around there, and you have to pay for parking in Darlington. And over Christmas, we didn't even offer free parking. It just doesn't seem as if we actually connect to small businesses. We don't speak to them and find out exactly what we can do for them. If we could offer free, why can't we do free parking over the Christmas shopping period? Just little things like that. But I mean, obviously,
if you've got any businessmen,
I've got time.
ask him
I'll
to
put
go.
the next guy.
Yeah, but we can answer the specific point about parking.
There has always been a Christmas offer in Darlington on Thursday afternoons and evenings in the run up to Christmas. Something the traders encourage. We work with the traders on that, and it's well received.
Free after 3 o'clock.
Yeah, free after 3.
Always free.
Any more questions?
Yes, I'll just go through my portfolio. It's the same as the previous ones. The first slide, things that we're saying in the core offer that we will do, and then the second slide, which is about cuts and savings that we're suggesting that we need to make. So, firstly, this slide is the things it's a combination of statutory services and things that we must do as an organisation. The first bullet point, it's from the fact that we are a large organisation, we employ many people, and because of that we need to have things to support those people in their workplace. So we need to have finance functions, we need to have IT, we need to have HR, etc, etc. So there's a number of things that we need to do as a consequence of being an employer of people. And therefore we need to continue going forward with those things to support staff that we have. And the amount of money that we spend on those things will be proportional to the number of employees we have within the organisation. So whilst it's a core service that we need to continue with, the same thing also appears on the next slide, because we can make deductions because the overall number of staff that we have, that we employ is falling. Second bullet point, it's a local authority and therefore we have councillors, and clearly there's a cost of having councillors. The one part of that is not statutory, is that we have a mayor. We don't have to have a mayor, it's a ceremonial mayor. We feel that it needs to be in there, partly because it's about the mayor is one of the ways that we can promote the borough outside the town. It's a way that we can promote Darlington as a place for businesses to come in, so it provides a useful function in terms of promoting the local authority. Taxation and housing benefits. Taxation is the service whereby we collect council tax and also business rates. It's a service clearly that we need to do, and the key issue there really is what the cost of that is in terms of running it. And similarly for housing benefits, we have a duty to give out housing benefits to those that are entitled to them. And both of those services have a cost to run them, and in both cases the cost either per household or per person receiving the benefits is below the national average. So it's a service that from an audit point of view we're providing more cheaply than average. Senior management, again, it's a large organisation, so we need management to manage our staff. The quantity of managers that we have in terms of how many, clearly again has to be proportionate to the number of staff that we have. Since 2010, the number of senior managers that we have has fallen, and in that period of time we've saved in terms of the number of staff some £2 million from 2010. Senior management on the next slide, because as the numbers of staff in the local authority decreases, we can make further cuts in terms of the numbers of senior management that we need to run the organisation. Financing costs is something that's been alluded to once or twice. It's the cost of the borrowing that we make for capital projects. I think one or two things were bandied around which I think I heard, but they were not correct. The financing costs going forward are approximately £450,000 per annum. Yes, that is a lot of money, but in terms of our overall revenue budget, it's something like 0.5% of the money that we have to spend on an annual basis we need to spend on servicing the borrowing that we make. And if you make an analogy with household budgets, the people that own houses, they will have a mortgage, and your mortgage payments will be considerably higher as a percentage of your monthly income than 0.5%. So yes, as an absolute value, it's a lot of money, but as a percentage of our revenue budget, it's quite small. And the second thing really to stress is that all local authorities borrow for capital budgets, that all local authorities will have some element of spending a small part of their revenue on servicing their borrowing costs. Registrars is a service that we provide, most people will be familiar with, allowing people to register births, deaths and marriages. It's a service which makes a small profit. Finally, on their Darlington partnership, it's a non-statutory thing, but it's something that we suggested we should add back into the service that we do. And for those who don't know the Darlington partnership, it is a partnership between the local authority, between the business sector and the public sector and the voluntary sector, and it's about trying to find synergies between different organisations to try and do things that any one organisation can either struggle to do from a financial perspective or doesn't have the knowledge to do it. So it does things for the town collectively. One of the examples of something that it's done is the Foundation for Jobs, which is about finding jobs for less advantaged people. And it's that kind of thing that no one particular organisation will probably be able to do on its own. So it's about trying to get the communities and how we're working together. In terms of cuts that we're suggesting in this budget, as I alluded to, senior management, as our overall number of staff fall, so the number of senior management that we need to manage those people will fall. And in this budget is proposed a further £300,000 will be saved in reducing the numbers of senior management that we have. The support services, which is the first bullet point on the first slide, all the things that we do to allow our staff to work, that will suddenly reduce as our staff numbers fall. And I think the figures that are in the budget have got £360,000 will come out of that, of those support services. The union contribution is currently, clearly we have members of staff in a number of unions. We have the shop stewards, and a part of what the local authority does in terms of having a good relationship between managers and workforce is using the union stewards to help in that relationship to ensure that we have good working relationships between the staff and management. And as part of doing that, what we currently have is a member of staff who works half-time in his day job and half the time he works on the union duties, liaising with management, talking to staff. And we effectively do fund half his role, half full-time equivalents to allow him to do that. What we're proposing is that we will withdraw that on the basis that we'll have to make so many other cuts. It's probably something that we can't really afford to do anymore. Most people probably say, well, why are you doing it in the first place? But I would say it has helped over the years tremendously in terms of having good working relationships between staff and management. Withdrawing that funding will mean that the other shop stewards will require some time off from their day jobs to do work with, and one of those times will be when we're having budget reductions and talking to the staff about redundancies. It's a key time when managing staff is crucial, and the unions perform a very useful role in that relationship. And finally on that slide, it's one example of some of the organisations that as a local authority we subscribe to, which we're saying, whilst the things that we get from those organisations are useful, probably at this point in time they are things that we cannot really afford to be members of. This particular one area is an organisation that's in the North East. It's an organisation that looks at employment issues affecting local authorities. So it's a forum where HR managers and unions can get together to talk about issues affecting staff in the workforce. And that could be things ranging from changing legislation in terms of working practices to other issues, for example, the impact of cuts on the workforce. So it has been a useful forum in the past, but we have to subscribe to that organisation and therefore it's a cost. When we feel at this point because we're having to make so many cuts to services that we provide, we probably need to withdraw from being a member of that organisation.
Any questions, comments? Yeah,
You've only cut £300,000 from like your use lot. Do you not think you can go a bit deeper?
Since 2010 already, we've cut £2 million from senior management, and there will be a further £300,000. So at the end of that time, it's £2,300,000. That's not just the £300,000.
You've got like about 7 layers of people on hundreds of thousands of pounds now I'm looking at here. Surely, assistant directors, you've got 3, communication services, housing building services, financial HR, I don't know what they're doing, partnerships, bloody hell, that's a good touch, that one. Surely you can go deeper than that, you know. Surely these aren't all, like, some of you take 2 jobs on, because I don't think you do much.
One of the things that the local authority does in terms of looking at what staffing levels we have is make comparisons with other local authorities, other public sector bodies.
No, man, but you're doing it wrong. We're Darlington. You're running Darlington, not the world. Run Darlington.
And the levels of managers that we have are similar to other public sector bodies, both local authorities and the National Health Service.
Protecting your own. Protecting your own.
I bet you, as much as you want to bet, I could put £30,000 out of use lot just sat on there, right, to pay for the lights. Give us a look, I will do it. She hasn't said a word, she's only given 40 grand a year. She hasn't said one word tonight.
Job descriptions. What did they do? You know, like fence manager, cutting everything. There's no Christmas lights anymore. There's no firework display. That's half of whoever's job that is done. The pay's the same.
To be fair, the reason that we're expecting shops to participate is there's a thing called BID, Business Improvement District, and all the premises within the area, basically the town centre, pay a levy, and the council pay the largest levy. And what we said is this year, we can keep the Christmas lights will be on, but we're looking to get the BID and some of the big retailers, bins, M&S, etc., to chip in to see what they can provide to keep lights on for 2017.
You can't expect shops to stand up for it when the rest themselves are using it.
It's just all sat there protecting yourselves.
Well, that's why we have elections, and if you don't gather, you said you're going to stand in fair play, because people should. We're elected not because we're perfect, but because we care and we try. I'm not saying we get it right every time, but we do try.
Can I just...
Yeah.
I think it's what the woman there from Darlington Culture and that was saying, and I totally agree with you. I know that they are on a lot of money, and I think the biggest problem is people don't really see the benefit of what they're getting. But I think what you remember is there are some councillors that care.
Yeah, I'm not saying you don't care. I'm not. I appreciate what you're doing here. This is the first time I've been and I haven't enjoyed it, but I really do appreciate what you're doing, filling us in with the details and I do appreciate that, but I just don't think you're cutting yourselves as much as what we'd like. You're cutting everything else apart from your inner circle, if you know what I mean. I might not be coming across good.
If people have a conversation in this distance, we do us a favour, we come and sing.
Yeah.
I buy a cup of coffee, we come in and sing.
Where you're at?
Very good.
Town hall.
Town hall.
Right, and I will do, yeah.
No, seriously, more than happy to, sorry, this isn't the ideal forum, and I'm not being funny, but we've been up here for 9 hours.
Oh, yeah,
I need another.
Is that looking worn out like it is that?
Is there anyone who hasn't spoken who wants to, or if, yeah.
Are you going to discuss the allotments in more depth? Are you going to discuss the allotments in more depth at a later date?
Well, not tonight, but if you would like to talk further to me about the allotments, again, more than happy to do so.
Okay.
Seriously, if you contact me by email or by phone at town hall, ask for the leaders, secretary, and the definitive. I'm going to about 2 or 3 of them tomorrow. I'm more than happy to do it. I actually find it easy in this because being deaf in one ear, I know people thought I was witnessing that, but my life was one long surprise. I can't hear half the things that are going on, but if we can get the room together, cook the coffee, and we'll chat it through. Is that fair?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thanks for coming and say cheerio.